much for joining me today. So, I know I've been on hiatus. I still kind of am, but this energy's been pulling at me for like a week, so let's dive into it. Now, this might resonate for you, this might not. Please use your discernment. This might explain why someone treated you the way that they did. I've been sitting on this energy for a week, so it's going to be a long one. It's going to be a doozy. I have like a whole checklist that we're going to go through. So if you see me scribbling in the corner, just know. Just crossing some things off my list. Making sure I got everything. Okay. So this whole situation seems to center on this like Knight of Wands here. Let's take a look at him. He feels like a young masculine. And when I asked about his energy to dig deeper into it, we came up with a Cobra, which is all about watching, waiting, observation. It can highlight the inner teacher, or more importantly, it highlights that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I think that's exactly what happened for this young masculine. I think that this has been an ongoing process for him, whether or not he's aware of it. And I think that he was looking for some type of material abundance or stability, some kind of like foundation. He was looking to build something for himself, and he needed a teacher. And so I think the universe sent him 2 teachers here. And something here has happened where he has had to, he looks like he's in misery. I mean, this guy's on fire, you know? He's had to pull back. I think he's like in isolation right now, reflecting. I think that's his instinct, actually. And I think that is kind of an issue, and that's why I'm being brought in, because this guy can't really, this young masculine's really struggling to see himself in this situation in a neutral perspective, to learn from it. And I don't think that's entirely his fault. I think there are a lot of distortions going on here. But nonetheless, I think he's trying to figure out how to fix this situation, or like get himself out of this hole he's dug, because the situation's been a roller coaster. And he needs to make a decision. So I'm here to, I guess, provide a neutral understanding of what his situation is, so he can make this decision, like, you know, well informed. Okay, all right. So yes, this young masculine, I think, was ready to learn something about materialism and egoism and lifestyles. And I think the behaviors that are required to be who he wants to be, I think this was meant to build him into who he wanted to be. On top of that, I am getting the sense that this is supposed to, it was supposed to teach him about the social contract and like how you treat other people. Ugh. I feel like the biggest air bubble in my throat randomly. It's like how you treat other people is important to like your overall well-being and general sense of happiness with your life, as well as like your place in society and the social contract. So I think he was ready. I think he was ready to learn this. And he came across 2 masculines. That is this King of Swords and this King of Wands. King of Swords is in reverse. King of Wands is upright. I want to focus in on this King of Swords really quick. His energy is icky. I don't like it. And this King of Swords, I think he's very charismatic. I think he's charming. I think he's persuasive. I think he is very flashy. Some people might call him brilliant, but I think it's just because it's like he like blinds people. Not literally. I think that there's like some mask going on here. This person, I think, is actually really complicated given how shallow they are. But I think the complicatedness only comes from trauma, like, and not processing your emotions properly. I think that this is a man who really struggles to maintain relationships or intimacy. However, I think he's very good at putting on a display or a show, and as a result of that, like, he's likable to other people, but only on like an associated level. Like, this is not a guy with like friends or like loving family. He's pretty all alone. But he wants to be respected and he wants to be admired. And so he might come off as like very, there's just something about him that's almost captivating, but there's nothing below it. Like, it's hollow. Now, he does have like a lot of wealth. He does seem to have some kind of decent fortune here, quite a bit of abundance actually. And he might use that to kind of prop up this the hollowness of who he is, you know? Otherwise the wind would just blow him over. So he might think like having like flashy cars or like, you know, blowing money at fancy restaurants is like indicative of his character and of his value. This is a guy who thinks he's like a high value man but like has like severe commitment issues. But just like thinks he's a player. This guy's like having a midlife crisis, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think he's aware of that. So I'm gonna move on. Actually, when I try to dig deeper into his energy, the animal card that I pulled for him was the earthworm, which is so interesting. I do feel like this man is very lazy. Very lazy. I feel like the role that he has gotten through like loopholes, through like networking, but this guy's like lazy. And I think he's very self-serving and very selfish. And I think that that's, you know, as a result of that laziness. Like, this is a guy who like couldn't keep a wife because he would never consider her needs, because to him she's just like a status symbol, you know. His energy's really gross. So I think that there is some amount of like imposter syndrome with this guy, that he refuses, because again, he struggles with processing his emotions. And he wants to only see what he wants other people to see. He wants to only display that. So I don't think that he really takes this imposter syndrome into account, but I think it hurts the people around him. Actually, I think it hurts relationships that he would like to have, like with this young masculine, this Knight of Wands. Now, let's dig into my King of Wands here. His imagery is beautiful, beautiful. We've got that sun motif behind the crown, the chariot riding through flames, the lion, mastered tame. Like, this is a man who has mastered egoism and materialism. This is like a true divine masculine energy, whereas I think this King of Wands is a false emperor. This is like a family man. He's very generous. He's very wholesome. I think he is very morally correct and upright. I think he's very well admired in his community, actually. And when I asked for clarification on who he is and what role he plays, we literally have the lion coming up a second time. So again, I think like he is the picture-perfect, ideal model for this lesson. Like he is the divine masculine. I think he's already mastered this lesson. I think he's gone through it. And I think that this young masculine, this Knight of Wands, has all the makings to become this King of Wands, which is exactly what he thought he wanted to do, right? That's what he was being set up for, was to grow into this. But I think that's where this earthworm energy starts to get muddy, because now typically the earthworm is about like amateur energy, right? It can be about like not being too hard on yourself for starting something new and, you know, asking for help. But I think that that's where because this King of Swords, everything has to be distorted in order for him to like cope with his own issues. So he finds himself in like these constant routes of like justifying bad behavior, to like treat other people poorly. It's a really weird and distorted cycle, and I think that's what happened with this earthworm energy here. I think that he saw this Knight of Wands. Now, let's compare these two before I get too far into this. This King and this Knight of Wands, I think that they work together. They have some kind of deep association with each other. They cooperate with each other. They know of each other, are in close contact, proximity. They either have like the same title, same status, same amount of like wealth, or they're maybe like, this is giving like partners at a law firm, like two partner attorneys. Sorry. I do think that this King of Swords is very, very worried that if this Knight of Wands grows to be like this King of Wands, who again is very upright, justice-based, like real justice, not distorted, I think if he grows into that, this King of Swords thinks he's going to be ousted from his position. So you have to remember that throughout all of this, I think that this King of Swords has had pretty decent, just not malicious intentions toward this Knight of Wands, but I think that there are a lot of underlying fears, which we'll get into in a second. So I think their intentions here with this young masculine are very, very different. I think that this King of Wands wants to see this masculine grow. but I think he's also very blunt about it too. He's like, you know, this is going to require a lot of hard work. Like, for example, if this young masculine comes to him about like, and I think that's the thing, is this young masculine is going to come to these people to ask where to invest his time, resources, energy, and money and resources. So I think he's been coming to them to like, literally to build himself. And you know, I think that this King of Wands would advise him to do, like, I think that he advises him correctly. Like, he will give him actual, you know, like, I hear like stock. It's so funny. This does seem really like financially based. He'll give him like actual good advice on how to build his finances or maintain something. I don't think that this young masculine listens to him though. And I have like digestive issues out of nowhere. I never like burp. So I don't know why I'm suddenly just like, maybe they do this over while they're eating. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this King of Wands is very taken with this Knight of Wands, but only in the sense where like he's willing to watch and wait and to see what's going to happen in this situation. He, I think, is kind of aiding the universe and testing this person's, I feel like, moral integrity. I feel like this is about moral courage. I feel like the situation was entirely about moral courage, but we'll get into this. And I feel like this King of Wands was the perfect model to like help build this person up in a healthy way, like to help build him, his confidence up, you know? And then the King of Swords. Now, his intentions were way more murky than I thought they were. This guy doesn't have, like, bad intentions, but they're not good. Again, there's this, like, underlying fear here that this Knight of Wands is gonna, like, oust him. In his mind, he sees it as, like, a coup. But it's not. It's really not like that. In fact, I actually think, if anything, this Knight of Wands would be, like, rightfully chosen over this king. So let's look at his, I wanted to dig deeper in his energy, and I got this King of Cups in reverse. Now, a big part of the reason why he has such, like, I feel like grandiose narcissistic qualities here is because, like, he really does want to be loved and admired. He wants to be viewed like he is this King of Wands. And I think he envies this King of Wands so much because of that. Because this King of Wands has everything he thinks he wants, but he can't maintain, where it's like he is the wife and the kids and, you know, the cabin up north, but he works all the time like an idiot. So like there's some real distortions, you know, where like this guy might think it's like not masculine that, you know, the wife like handles the bills. So he might really, it feels like stupid critiques. Like he finds any reason to critique this King of Wands because he's very jealous. And he's very jealous because he can't maintain relationships with the King of Cups in reverse. He can't maintain relationships, and that's because he's so selfish and self-serving. He's like he's like willing to sabotage other people to like stay stagnant, I'm hearing. Like, this is a man who has made a lot of mistakes. So then I asked, well, what is Spirit's intention here? What's going on? So again, I feel like this moral situation was intentional. This young masculine needed to learn something about finances, something about false emperors, right? About integrity here. And I actually do think he was making some pretty good progress, like financially or in some kind of like work or career endeavor or personal endeavor. He was making really good progress, but I think he was given bad advice by this King of Swords, and I think he was actually really vulnerable, and I think it's left him in heartbreak, like absolute remorse, regret, guilt, terror. Like this is a man who is isolating himself because he knows like he made the wrong choice, he listened to the wrong person, and he's starting to see that now. And weirdly enough, I think that this King of Swords is seeing this as like a victory. Now, again, I do think that to a point, this masculine achieved what he set out to do through the advice he was given. I think he was given pretty good advice on the financial end of things, on like the business end of things from this King of Swords, but I think that he was given really bad advice in the romantic side of things. And that's because this King of Swords has no like qualifying experience to make him a teacher in this area. That was entirely what the King of Wands was here to do. In fact, I think the King of Wands was put in this place entirely to teach this Knight of Wands the right way to do things, the right way to build money, the right way to build relationships, networking, like connections, maybe even your own business, and this Knight of Wands got like, I'm hearing dazzled by this King of Swords, where he was like, it almost feels like a boyish infatuation, where it's like this King of Swords kind of mimicked or portrayed himself as someone that this Knight of Wands could admire, which was again intentional, because that's what this Knight of Swords wants. He wants people to see him as admirable. He's very envious that this King of Wands is so well loved in his community. And on top of that, I think that there was some underlying shadows going on here, playing in the background of this. Whereas I think this King of Wands definitely could have stepped in more, but I think he really wanted to test this Knight of Wands. And I think that's because he wanted to like promote him or move him to the next level or like give him the next step type of situation. So I think that this King of Wands is kind of guilty of non-action. I will give him that, but I think that the only reason he's non-active or that he kind of pulled his participation back was because he was looking at things from a much wider perspective, and he wanted to see how things would play out. I think he needed to know maybe how far this Knight of Wands was willing to let things go, or what this Knight of Wands would do, if he would take responsibility and accountability. I get the sense that this King of Wands kind of sees through this King of Swords, but doesn't say anything about it because he has to work with him in some capacity. And I think the King of Swords intentions, which were much, much more murky, I had to pull extra cards on it, so let me find those. I think that some kind of, again, I think that this Knight of Wands was really working towards something, and I think he was about to get it, or he did get it. Some kind of wish fulfillment here. Some kind of real wish fulfillment. Now, I do think that this was financial, but I also think that this was kind of romantic. Because when I asked what the overlying lessons here were, what the overlying like lessons and rewards in this situation were, we got, ooh, I'm getting there, sorry. We have love, and we also have truth. But to clarify each of these, love was being clarified with clarity in reverse. So I think that there was some, I'm burping again, what the fuck? Maybe someone drinks a lot of beer and they like have acid reflux from that. I only get this when I touch this King of Swords. I only burp when I touch this King of Swords. So maybe this King of Swords drinks a lot, or like uses alcohol to like distort people's judgment in some way, or uses like substances to distort people's judgment in some way. Ooh, that can get real dark real quick. Now we have my love card with clarity in reverse. So I do think, ooh, weird. There's this fly. Whoa, I haven't seen a fruit fly in ages. Strange. We have this love card with clarity in reverse. Now I think that, again, I think this young masculine needed to learn what a healthy, secure relationship was like. And I actually kind of think they got it, but they were confused. Again, they're pretty prone to like isolation here and to a victim mindset. They felt like and I think that love actually is what initially set them off on this journey. I think that they wanted to be able to provide something or like have some kind of solid foundation for love. But like financially, this is weird. I think that this person, this Knight of Wands, kind of has a distortion in the way that he views love, which a lot of men do, thanks to the patriarchy, where they feel like they have to be like providers and protectors, right? So this could be something, because house, actually, a house or a home was brought up. So this masculine might have thought that he needed to like own a home before he could like get married or something like that. So he was like working under these two masculines to like get money to buy this house. And while this King of Wands is advising him to go with like a low interest rate but a high down payment, for example, and then like pay an extra payment every year so he pays off the house faster, this masculine was more like, no, like this is the best time to buy high, you know, like, oh well, girls like it when you have like all glass, you know. Or like, oh, you should do like a bachelor pad like my house. There's something here about like home or a house being significant. assets maybe being significant. Maybe wanted like to secure his assets beforehand. And then we also have truth being clarified with trust. So I think that this masculine needed to learn who he can trust. And not even that, I think he needed to learn to trust himself. Because I think he had a gut feeling about this King of Swords all along. And I think he didn't listen to it. I think he was easily dazzled. I feel like I'm hearing easy prey. Like he was easy prey to this King of Swords, and he knows it. Yeah, like he feels like he played into this King of Swords palm. Maybe pawn, or he was used as a pawn by this King of Swords. And it's left him in some kind of like seriously hermit state. Maybe he's trying to figure out how he fixes these things, how to get a victory out of this situation, because like this Knight of Wands feels like he fucked up. This could be very much with like a wife or a partner of some kind that he saw himself with long term. Maybe he imagined like a future kids with, or even like a partner that he was trying to buy a house with, because my elk is like my father card, and this coming up in reverse is like he struggled to take responsibility, accountability in this situation, to step up, like man up, I'm hearing. Maybe some kind of, and maybe he distorted the truth to you as well, or tried to kind of mimic this King of Swords and come off as someone that he really wasn't. Yeah, there's something really, and I think he knows that this situation has left him untrustworthy. And I think in his mind, he might also fear that it's not only left him untrustworthy, but like unlovable. He has no idea. I think this young masculine has no idea where he stands. And I with you, because at my back of my deck, we have my Princess of Wands. These two are supposed to be together, but I think this masculine messed up somehow. And I think, yeah, Princess of Wands with my Queen of Cups behind it. Like, this was his soulmate, and he fought with them? Or maybe he's fighting over them at this time, but it's like a double-edged sword. Fighting over them, maybe fighting for them or defending them now? Now that he's caught himself, yeah. And she's focused on money, she's focused on career, she ain't even bothered. Yeah, because she knows. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, she knows too. She knows that this is like a soulmate situation, and she knows. This is so funny. She knows he needs to think about this. She's like letting him have his hermit space because she knows how this ends. And we have strength here as well. She knows that. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to like drop my jaw on the floor, but like she knows that this soulmate is so funny. Her energy is like, it makes me want to laugh. She's bubbly in the good way. Oh my goodness, her energy feels like champagne, like wine. I don't know, bubbly. She knows it's ego. And look at that lion. She knows. And she knows that he made the wrong decision here. I'm like, and she knows that it's true love. Like, but he made the wrong judgment. I've got judgment in reverse, and right behind that I've got mine, yeah. And she knows that there's some kind of disharmony here. And I think that's because she's not really, he views her as this Princess of Wands, but she's not. She's this Queen of Wands. She's got her shit together. She doesn't need him. So I feel like this soulmate, yeah, she knows justice is coming. She knows she's getting her justice. I think like there was something, she was like lied to or distorted. Something was distorted in this situation for her. She was not even allowed to view this situation correctly. And I think that was intentional. I think this King of Swords, if he knew about her, knew how quickly she would see through it. Because again, he can see that she's the Queen of Wands. He might have actually tried to downplay her value to this young masculine. And say like, oh no, she's like on the same level as you. She's this like Princess of Wands. But she was the queen. She was the queen all along. Girl, I love this girl's energy. I'm sorry. She's cute. She's cute, but she keeps that mute. Like, she's... maybe she works in law. Because that was something that I would hear when I was law. Is like, it's cute to keep it mute when you're being read your Miranda rights. Anything you can say in like a legal situation can be used against you. So, you know. This woman's energy is beautiful. I feel like you're very quiet right now. You're very quiet. You're like you're focused on yourself. Maybe self-care. Maybe you're focused on self-care here with this Queen of Swords and Princess of Swords being both in reverse. And then behind that is the Hangman. Yeah, because you're kind of stuck. You may feel like you didn't deserve this. That's completely fair. But just know, like, this person was... I think they were tricked. I think that they were tricked into... Oh, hold on. Giving something up. They were tricked by a friend in some kind of friendship. Because I have friendship on the back of this deck. Yeah, they were tricked over a gift. You were the gift. Look at that, the woman's wish. Yeah, I feel like you were being given, like this soulmate was literally given you as like a gift. And I think that that's one of the hard lessons underlying all this with materialism, is I think that this Knight of Wands wanted to be able to provide for you, but I don't think that they realized that they didn't need to do that. I actually think that you would have, yeah, you would have been... I feel like you've walked away from this situation because you're like, if you had just taken off the blindfold, there would be a lot more peace between us right now. Like if you had just told me what was going on, I would have been able to work with you and help you. But I think you have this person blocked because of the secrets. I think these came out somehow. And I think that as a result, this Knight of Wands is suffering financially for how they treated you. Maybe they involved a third party, because I got my Princess of Cups here too. And that's with my... Six of Swords. So I do feel like, actually not even. I feel like the people that they involved, maybe they did, because this King of Swords is all about power plays and power dynamics. So maybe he encouraged like competition. And I get that. He might actually encourage that in private. Like I'm getting the sense that this is the type of guy where like if he goes to a bar with his like colleagues, he'll try to like pull the hottest girl in the bar or something, or maybe like picks on the waitress, something like that. I only get indigestion when I talk about him. He left this person with like a bad taste in their mouth because they were guided so wrong. And again, I think that this soulmate was being given to this young masculine as like a gift, but he didn't want to see that. And I think he actually lost it, and I think he knows that the situation got out of control too quickly. Something got out of control way too quickly here. On the upside, justice is going to be served. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I actually think justice is going to be served from this King of Wands. I think that this King of Wands, ooh, I think that's going to be the future of this situation. This has been a real roller coaster. But, and again, at the beginning of this, I was like, I think that this man needs to make a decision. And I think the King of Wands has something to say in this situation that will ultimately lead to the decision. There's something here about a contract. Maybe that's how all of these men met. Maybe they all like work on a contract together. There's some kind of like recognition or fame or community involved. This could be like a science team that knows that if they can like find the cure for cancer, they'll get a Nobel Prize. That type of vibe. Like there is some serious sense of like recognition here. There's something about theft as well. Like this young masculine feels like something was stolen from him, or like maybe like a destiny swap. Like he feels like it's justice that he got like sacked with the wrong thing. And I think that's because of how he treated this young feminine. This divine feminine, by the way, like his literal soulmate. Like he treated his soulmate like, and then at the behest of this terrible guy, who I feel like he knew was terrible. And now he's like trying to play the victim card. He's like, oh no, what did I do? And Spirit's like, you have a choice to make. You can either continue down this behavior path of like no accountability, treating other people like crap, and hoarding your wealth, being self-serving, or you can be like this King of Wands. And you can deal with your ego and communicate, be trustworthy, give the truth, give clarity to this situation, especially to someone that they love, but they've lost. Yeah, I'm seeing the Knight of Cups with the Hermit in reverse from a different deck that I just have laying around here. Yeah, they are looking for a reconciliation. I know that this young masculine wants to make things right, but I actually think that they're gonna kind of sit in this non-action, because again, that's all that they've really seen with this King of Wands, outside of being given like pretty good financial advice when it comes to and being able to, like, I think, see the relationship that the King of Wands has with his wife, that I think this Knight of Wands wants to emulate, because it's safe and it's secure. Right, it's a good lifestyle. It's a good life. I'm hearing it's a good life. I'm hearing maybe it's like Kenny Chesney song where he's like, it's the good things. But I think this young masculine wants this good life. And because he's only seen it, he hasn't, like, it's funny. It's like he needs to be told. This guy's like he is a young masculine. What do I expect? Sorry. I'm not trying to insult you right now. It's just, but yeah, this, like, I think this King of Wands is ready to, like, stand up and say something. I think that he's seen enough, actually, and he's ready to tell this young masculine what he thinks of this situation. I actually totally lost the Knight of Swords card. It's, like, tucked in the deck here, so. How did I lose him? I mean, he's just lost in the sauce right now. And maybe that's how he feels. Maybe he just feels like he's lost. I don't even think this was... What? Anyways. Yeah, I mean, he needs to... I think this King of Wands is going to stand up, to be honest. And whether it's standing up to this King of Swords and, like, actually ousting him, like this King of Swords was fearing. Let's actually take a look. Let me just find this Knight real quick. What did I do with him? Oh my goodness. Okay, I guess we'll suffer without. He's literally on fire right now. It's funny. Okay, so what is this? Because I'm getting a sense of this King of Wands. I like it when my cards tell me to shut the fuck up. Because I feel you. I would also like if I could shut the fuck up sometimes, so... That's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that they would treat me like that. Ooh. Yeah, maybe this... Ooh. No. Really? Clarify that. Wow. Okay. Alright, this is going to be a message for some people, but not all. Now, for this King of Swords, there's some serious, like, destitution about to take place. Some serious, like I said, this is some kind of, like, karmic rebalancing. There's some kind of fate here that was regarding passion, beauty, love. It was regarding, like, some kind of soul contracts, maybe? I feel like this King of Swords might have, like, defrauded... maybe like their employer or someone in this situation in order to have this, or their behavior in this situation is being, like, exposed or found out, like how they played a part in this. Yeah, how they, like, worked for the devil. And I think there's going to be an opportunity for this Knight of Wands to walk away from this almost scot-free. Almost scot-free. Like, he's almost off the hook here. There is still some, yeah, like, inner qualms about love specifically. He's wondering if it's, like, if it's done. Like, if there's any chance for harmony here. And I think, again, he's really stuck in, like, a fairly negative mindset about his own situation. Again, I don't think he knows that he's not at fault. Yeah, this was really calculated. This was very calculated. To push him in the wrong direction was very calculated here. And he needs to do the right thing. Some kind of theft took place. I said that earlier. Maybe someone was like... maybe they, like, took your words and twisted it. I don't know. Someone feels like something was stolen in this situation. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting for you. I do kind of want to see, that's right, I wanted to see what the King of Swords, I'm sorry, what the King of Wands has to say in this situation. So he might be exposing some kind of lies that took place here, some kind of fraud, theft that took place. Ooh, I'm reading harmony. Yeah, this King of Wands is coming in to rebalance. He's seen enough. He's seen enough. He's done. He's done. He's coming. What is it? Taking names, kicking asses. Yeah, something about money here. I think the feminine is due to get a lot of money. The feminine is like focused heavily on work, and that is kind of a justice of her own. There's things that need to be healed here in this situation, and I think that this King of Wands is meant to point that out, like how necessary hard work is. And I'm kind of picturing, it's weird, it's so weird, I'm kind of picturing like almost like an uncle, a father, and a son. And the father is almost like yelling at the son about how like you don't see the work and the effort. Or maybe like the father's trying to teach the son a lesson. And this uncle is like, oh, well, you know, like, it's so funny. It's like and I feel like this is about love. I feel like this is about love specifically, where the father is like, this like King of Wands energy, the father. He's like, now son, women are like, they're like delicate flowers, you know, you gotta like water them, you have to like nourish them, you have to like prune them, you know, you have to make sure that you take care of your garden, essentially. And the uncle steps in and is like, oh, well, you know, oh, you're all ball and chain, like, oh, she's more like a weed, you know, and it's just like overall disrespectful, or like it kind of gives off like like older white guy humor, or like har 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 har, I hate my wife humor. And the dad just kind of like, he like lets the uncle do that and go, as he's like continuously trying to teach his son, and his son's kind of starting to look at like the uncle, where he's like, well, the uncle's right, like, because the uncle might hit a point where he's like, oh, well, you know, you didn't have to do much to keep your woman growing like a weed. And the son's like, oh, you're right, like, you don't do much for mom, you know. And dad has to step in and be like, oh, that's what you think, like, you don't see how much effort that I put in to the relationship that I have with your mother, like, you know, like, I cook dinner because she makes breakfast, you know. I do the lawn and both the bathrooms, and I always keep the garage clean because, and I always do the dishes at night because, you know, she cleans the living room and she gets the kids to and from school. Like, there was a genuine equal partnership between this King of Wands and his wife. And this young masculine 100% had the capacity for that, to have that for himself. And I think he's like easily dazzled or easily impressed by like a toxic masculinity mindset that he needs to unlearn. And I think this King of Wands is finally fed up with watching him be guided in the wrong direction, and is going to force him into like a rock or a hard place in order to like make the right decisions for himself and to right the wrongs that happened in this situation. Because there's some serious distortions, and if I'm being called into it, I already know it's a whole mess. So I'm going to do a cleanse or a quick, ooh. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Let me know down in the comments if this resonates for you. And yeah, that's what I have for you today. Bye!